What's up, and welcome back to the Unreal Podcast. I got a super special guest today. If you want to introduce yourself, bro.
What's up, man? This is Curtis Blaydes, UFC heavyweight. Uh, Out here doing my thing in Colorado. Happy to be on the podcast with you.
Appreciate it, man. It's really big. I also saw that you were on King Karan. Did like an interview with him. I think that's
Yeah.
super dope, man. Because whether you want to believe it or not, you big time, man. You climbing the ranks. So when you can kind of get with the people who's just doing other stuff, that's pretty cool, bro. So for the audience and for myself too, how did you get into MMA? Like, where did you start? What got you into fighting and all that?
Um, I wrestled in high school. I'm from Chicago,
Okay,
so
yeah.
wrestling is a pretty Illinois type sport. It's very Midwest, like Iowa, Michigan, Ohio. We all pretty big into wrestling. So for me, um, I wrestled as a freshman, sophomore, all my years of high school, and then my last year, my senior year, I won state, and I was able to get a scholarship. I got a scholarship to Northern Illinois University.
Oh, that's dope.
While I was there, I wrestled that whole year. I went, I think, 18-3, which is I
Jeez.
was pretty happy with that, and I had plans on being the starter the next year, but um, around after the season ended, I kind of just started slacking with school and homework and stuff. So I messed up my grades. I didn't have enough credits to retain my scholarships. I lost my scholarship. Ended up going to a smaller school, a JUCO or a junior college.
Oh,
It was
okay,
in
yeah,
Illinois. Yeah. So I ended up going to JUCO. But believe it or not, JUCO wrestling is almost as hard as like Division two wrestling because you got a lot of guys like me who are really good just didn't have the grades
yeah.
on JUCO. So it's actually pretty hard. Um, I wrestled at Harper. That was the JUCO. I wrestled there for 2 years. Um, my junior year, my second year, I won JUCO nationals, and I had plans to continue wrestling and continue to work towards getting my degree, but I didn't get my transcripts in a timely order, so I missed that fall semester. So that's how I kind of got into MMA. I needed something to do in the meantime, just to maintain my shape, my conditioning.
Yeah.
So a
So that
buddy
kind
of
of worked
mine from
itself
high
out, though.
school, yeah, I mean, it wasn't a plan. Like it was only supposed to be a stopgap. It wasn't supposed to be like I'm going to the UFC. That
Yeah.
wasn't my plan. It wasn't my goal. Honestly, my goals at the time, I wanted to be on the Olympic roster. I thought I was good enough to do
Oh,
that.
wow.
So that was the plan, but obviously that's not how it went. Um, so yeah, I started fighting September of 2012, and I was the year I won JUCOs earlier that year. So I had my first amateur fight. I won it pretty fast, pretty easily, and then I don't know. A lot of people just got in my head was like, "Yo, bro, you're really good. You could do this." And I was like, in my head, I was like, "I'm gonna do it just until I lose or until something a better opportunity presents
Yeah.
itself." But I kept winning. I turned pro 2014 in May, and then I went 5-0 as a pro, and then I got the call to go to the UFC 2 years later, 2016 in April, and it's been pretty good.
That's crazy. So how do they? Is it kind of like when you're in the amateur circuit, like the UFC and like Bellator, these pro leagues are kind of paying attention and they reach out to people? Like, how did that happen? Because you said they reached out to you.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because there is no NCAA, there is no like
Right.
giant feeder pool where all the well-known talent is. Like the talent is everywhere. The, there's guys in Australia, there's guys in Croatia, there's guys in Sweden, there's guys here in America. So it's like how to get found is it's pretty weird. Like there's a bunch of different ways you could do the Ultimate Fighter. You could
Yeah.
do there's a lot more avenues today. You can do Dana White's Contenders series. You can, or you can get to. There's other, like, I don't want to say big, but they're like like how the UFC is Duke. There's a bunch of like the smaller schools, like
Yeah,
the
smaller schools. Like you got like the Pac-12, the SEC, and
yeah
then you got the super small schools and all that.
yeah. So there's a bunch of those organizations that are pretty decent. If you want a belt for one of them, the UFC has already got eyes on those organizations. So they're looking at the guys who can compete in those organizations, and those are the guys they want to like draft or bring up
Yeah.
to the big leagues. So I got into this promotion, RFA, that is now called LFA, but that's like the biggest feeder promotion here in America. So I got in that one, and I didn't win a belt or nothing, but it's easier to get into the bigger promotions as a heavyweight because it's not a bunch of us. So if you
Yeah.
stand out just a little bit, you're already on the radar. So I won my RFA debut, and I got the call to the UFC about a month later.
That's dope, man. So now, just to jump forward a little bit, it's been about what exactly 2 weeks since your fight with Dos Santos, who, by the way, for the people who don't know, is a former champion. And you were able to pull that one out, bro, which is awesome. And another thing too that's interesting is that you are only, correct me if I'm wrong, you're only 28, right?
Yeah, my
Or
birthday is in a few weeks on the 18th.
that's crazy.
I'll
And
be
you are, I remember them saying you are the only top 10 fighter in the heavyweight division under the age of 30, which is crazy, man.
Yeah, it's an older division because like with heavyweights we age gracefully or
Yeah.
more graceful than the smaller weights because the last thing to leave you is the power, and it's a power based division. It's
Hmm.
not really I mean I don't want to. It's not really a skill based division. Like, you can get by with just swinging and praying,
Word.
you know. So
Now, speaking of swinging, man, so in that Dos Santos fight, now people who know you and people who follow you know that you are definitely, you're, obviously, like you said, your big thing is wrestling, and you have, all different types of, records, and you hold some of the best stats as far as like takedowns and stuff like that. So in that fight, did you go into it knowing that you wanted to stand and strike, or was it kind of like you went for a couple takedowns? He did seem to have some pretty good takedown defense,
mm,
and then you kind of just felt out the fight and realized like, look, I could tag him up a couple times and then get them that way.
it was a ladder. I mean, we just realized my my coaches alerted me and they were like, bro, he's 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 gonna commit so hard to the wrestling, he's gonna leave his jaw wide open. But I didn't really take advantage of that until the second round. The first round, I was a little, I was very blinders. Like I wanted the takedown so bad. I think I probably could have ended them in the first round. There were probably a couple opportunities or exchanges that I could have landed landed the overhand. I just wasn't really looking. But then in the next round, after my coaches brought it up to me, because sometimes that's the beauty of having them there, is that they have a different view. Like I'm
Word.
in there,
Hmm.
but like things are happening so fast, I can't watch everything. That's their job. So in between rounds, they'll just give me just enough information to make adjustments, and then it's up to me to um, commit it.
That's what's up, man. So speaking of your coaches and stuff, I know that you are very big on letting people know, trying to put your gym in Denver on the map, and I definitely want you to do so. So just tell the people a little bit about, the name of the gym. As I said, it's in Denver, so you guys are up in the mountains, which is, I would imagine, even different because of the elevation. So what's that been like being
Yeah,
out in Denver and training with people like Overeem and people like that?
that was the whole reason I moved out here because uh, Chicago's not really an MMA hotbed.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really what we do up there. I knew I needed to find the right gym for me to really let my skills grow. I needed to find a, a coaching staff that could bring out the best in me also because I hadn't really had any of that in Chicago. I was kind of doing my own thing, which is in hindsight that's why I lost my debut to Ngannou. I wouldn't put in the work you have to put in to like compete at this level. But yeah, I came out to Denver. I'm out here at Easton's MMA. It's not like one of those giant MMA factories like AKA or ATT or Jackson's. We're smaller, but we're more family oriented. Like everybody helps everybody from the top on bottom. We got like 8 guys in the UFC, and about half of them are ranked, highly ranked. Like myself, we got me, like you said, Alistair. We got Drew Dober, Corey Sanhagen, Justin Gaethje, um, Austin Hubbard, Neil. We got a lot of guys, but there's no egos. There's no I'm in the UFC, so I can do what I want to do. We all do the same thing. We all do the same sprints. We all bleed together, and it's just like I think it makes it easier for the lower division guys to like they accept what the coaches are saying because they see how it benefits us. So it just rolls downhill.
It's like a trickle down effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought up the whole ego thing. Now you said you guys over there, you're very good at not having that ego and kind of being humble. And one of the most interesting things about you, just as a UFC fighter and also a top ranked, I mean, you're number 3 ranked. You know what I'm saying? And you obviously just came off a big fight. Like you're doing big things. You're clearly climbing the ranks. How do you manage to be? Because the truth of the matter is, you know, for better or for worse, is that a lot of times the money fights are the fights with, you know, the people like the Connors of the world, the Masvidals of the world, the people who are out here talking all kind of shit. And I can appreciate that. I mean, it's a combat sport, you know, talking shit. But you seem to be just who you are. Like, look, I'm a humble dude. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna try to whoop your ass in the ring and let my fighting and my wrestling do the talking. Now, how do you think that that's gonna either help or hurt you as far as trying to get those, you know, get closer to that title fight, which you're getting closer and closer. So how do you think that you can maintain the type of person you are and still kind of pull in those maybe those money fights, those bigger marquees?
I mean, I'm gonna get those just because I'm gonna clean this division out. Eventually, there won't be anyone left, and you gotta give me the belt. Once I get the belt, every fight I have is a money fight. Once you got the strap, that's where the money is. So I don't. Guys are trying to make money, and their goal isn't the belt anymore. The goal is just money fights. I want the belt because I know that leads to money, and I want the prestige, obviously, because you win the belt, the doors that are open, the opportunities, the sponsorships, all that. I want all that, and I'm just not willing to compromise who I've always been. I've never been braggadocious. I've never really talked shit. That's just not me. I'm not good at it, to be honest. I'm just not good at it.
I feel you, bro.
Unless I'm on playing Madden. That's probably the only time I talk shit.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I definitely want to talk about the video game stuff because I know you're big on video games. But so another thing I was wondering too is this is now, believe it or not, I'm actually wanted to know because I never asked you this. I wanted to know how you ever came across me because the way that I figured out about you was that my buddy Jacob, and shout out to Jacob, he's a huge UFC fan and he knew who you were. This was last year. This is before you fought in Chicago. What was it, last June? Was it, or 2018?
Yeah, it was 2018.
Yeah, so it was right before that when he told me about you, and he was like, "Yo," he's like, "You know that this UFC fighter follows you," and I was like, "I never realized it." And then I had noticed you would comment on something, and I went to your page, and I'm like, "What?" And this was before right now you blue check, you verified, you number 3, you up there, bro. But even still, I was like, "What?" And people don't realize like when anybody who's in like a public spotlight, like a pro athlete or a celebrity, any type of person like that, when they engage. Like that goes a long way with their fan base, and you do that every day. I mean, literally, like an hour after your fight, you had like 15 reposts of people who were watching your fight. So is that something important to you, or is that something that you kind of just thought to yourself, like, oh, you know, I really need to pay it forward and show that love, or is it just always been you're just in tune with the people who support you?
It's a little bit of both. Like you said, I have a platform. There's ways to go about how do you use that platform, and I use it. I like to engage. I like to give my opinion. Like if I post something political or controversial or whatever, I'll engage. Give me your opinion. As long as you're not being belligerent with it,
right,
I'll listen. I'll go back and I like debates. I've always liked to have a good debate. It's like having a workout for your brain. Defend yourself. Like I don't like. I remember I posted something about. Remember all that abortions stuff,
Yeah.
how a bunch of states were denying women the right to
Yeah, it was like Georgia
abort.
and all them.
And I was like, bro, that's wrong. It's a girl's
Mm-hmm.
body. It's her. And that one just went. I had like 1,500 comments, people arguing with me, people arguing with other people. And I don't mind that though, because I want to hear, why do you believe a woman
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be allowed to abort? Like, it's her body. So I don't mind that. But if you just come on my page like, oh, you're dumb, that's not
And it's like,
really a
I'm not gonna
debate.
engage with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to your original question, I found you 'cause I like IG comedy. I
Yeah.
like Tony Baker. I like King Karan. I like, who's that? I like Jasmine. I like, who's that? Cornell. I
Yeah,
think
he's
I
funny as hell.
found him. You know how you go down one of those Instagram wormholes, you just start
Yeah,
going
yep.
through videos. That was how it happened. I was just going through from one funny comedian, and I noticed you guys give each other like somebody repost your stuff, you
Yeah,
repost their
yep.
stuff. So that's how I found you.
That's dope, man. And it's crazy because a lot of those people now are doing really big things, like,
Yeah.
you know, doing really big things. And that just makes me super happy. Like you mentioned Jasmine, Cornell, all of them. And it's crazy because years ago, I was probably about 17, 18 when I was like really making the skits. And I was just 17, 18. I'm like, oh, this is just for fun. Like, I don't take it seriously. And somebody had actually presented an opportunity, and it ended up being a situation where I got kicked out of this group chat. And he messaged me separately. He was like, bro, I got real opportunities. Like, if you're not about it, then no disrespect, but I don't want you in there. So I was like, whatever. I kind of brushed it off. And now I got people. I see like Justina Valentine doing her music thing. She's on Wild Now. Tonio Skits is on Wild Now. Cornell and
Yeah.
Carrie Boy and Jasmine doing stand up and movies and everything you can imagine. And I fell off for like 5 years. I stopped making content, man. And I just picked back up in the summertime. And that's why, like I said, I really appreciate you doing this with me because this is all part of it. And I've just been feeling so motivated. And when I see people like that who are doing great things, I'm like, man, that could have been me right now if I had stuck to it. But it is what it is. Like, I can't be hung up on the past. So I'm gonna worry about going forward, And I'm still. I mean, you and I are both young. I'll be 26 this month. You said you'll be 29 in a couple weeks. We're still young, man. We're in our prime right now. Like, we still got a long way to go. So it's definitely good to do that. But to step back from the MMA stuff real quick, you mentioned Madden and stuff. So I know you're a big gamer, man. I've seen you talk about it in some other interviews. So what are some of your favorite video games or game franchises? And also, what are you, an Xbox or a PS4 guy?
PS4. I never liked
I could dig it. I could dig it.
the only game I really liked playing for Xbox was Halo and this other game called Brute Force. It's old game. So those are really the only two Xbox games for me. And now in my older age, especially after having a daughter, I don't get to play video games as much as I used to. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
condensed it down to mostly just Madden, and occasionally when I go home, my little brother, he's a Chicago police officer. He he's really big into the Star Wars games.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'll play what you call it, Battlefront.
Yeah.
I'll play that with him.
That's cool, man. So you mentioned your daughter. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The fight against Dos Santos, that was the first time your daughter was actually at a fight, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What was
That
that
was the
like,
first
man?
one. It was a dope experience, Um, just just being able to see her immediately after. Usually I have to wait a couple days after uh, getting back home and everything. It was just fun because also a lot of my other family was there. My dad, my aunt, a lot of my cousins, a lot of family I never even got a chance to meet before. It was good that they got a chance to interact with my daughter also. 'Cause I live all the way out here in Colorado, and everybody else is like more east.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of opportunities for that to happen. I'm just grateful.
That's awesome, man. So we know a little bit about Curtis, the UFC fighter. Tell me about Curtis when you're not in UFC mode, when you're not training or you're not in a fight. What kind of stuff do you like to do besides like video games? I know you said you're big on family, so what kind of stuff do you enjoy to do that's just true to you outside of UFC and fighting and all that?
I ain't gonna lie. I'll be 100. I like to smoke, and
Oh, you in Colorado, man. You could you got that
it's
legal.
legal.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I do a lot of that. Play a lot of video, well, not a lot, but get my video games when I can. Uh, mostly just hang out with my girlfriends. I don't do too much. I'm a homebody. I'm lazy. Most of my energy goes into practice. So when I get home, I'm just a bum.
Those are the best moments though, man. When you work your ass off, ain't nothing like, sometimes I tell people like, oh, on my day off, like, oh, I'm just sitting around all day. What? That's the only day you have free. And I'm like, this the only day I have to do this. Like,
I don't get how people like my roommate. He loves he he's the definition of white people shit. He likes to do extreme shit. He's like, you want to go skiing? No. You want to go snowboarding? No. You want to go whitewater rafting? No. I remember we went to Australia. He wanted to go deep sea snorkeling with the great whites. I was like, hell no.
damn,
So
damn, you trying to
I don't.
swim at sharks and shit? How do you even
Yeah,
how do you even do that? Like, what?
like I said, the definition of white people shit.
That's awesome, man. Well, look, I don't want to take up a crazy amount of your time. So, last but not least, what are your now that you've had this Dos Santos fight, you won that, you've kind of had a chance to decompress. What are your thoughts going forward? What's next for you? Is there a certain fight you want, or is it kind of just put whoever in front of me until I get to the belt?
No. It's not whoever, because I'm gonna be strategic with this. Because I am ranked number 3, and the only guys above me are DC at number 1 and Ngannou at number 2. If Ngannou wins his next fight against Jorginho Rosenstruck, I'm kind of screwed. So I'm really hoping Rosenstruck is able to beat him, because then me and him could have a fight for the number 1 contender, while DC and Stipe have their last fight. Because DC already, he told me personally, because he was on the commentary for my
Yeah, I
last
saw that.
fight. He, like, earlier that week when I bumped into him, he was like, bro, I just want to do this last fight with Stipe, then I'm gone. I'm like, that's great. Just hurry up and do it. So whenever they do that, he's gonna retire, and then really it's gonna be me and Gano and Stipe. It's gonna be us 3. I know I'm gonna get a opportunity at the belt. I just don't know when exactly, because there's a lot of stagnation going on right now. Because
Mm-hmm.
Stipe's got these injuries and he's taking all this time off, so it's kind of creating a logjam at the top. There's not really
Yeah.
no there's no opportunity for movement right now. So I can't really give you a real answer until after this Ngannou Jorginho fight.
Now, just to bring up, because I gotta keep it real, man, and I'm also just curious, those because your only 2 losses were both to Ngannou, right? Now, how is it handling a loss versus handling a win? Like, what is it? Kind of take me into the mind of Curtis Blaydes post loss. How do you handle that? How do you manage your emotions and be able to look forward and be like, no, the next time, the next fight is a different story. Because you see a lot of the people say that the greats of anything, of any sports, it's like when they have a bad game, it's that really quick. They forget that really quick. They got that bad memory. So how do you handle losses after that?
Uh, I mean, it's in this game, just like any other, not this game, in this sport, just like a lot of other sports. Sometimes it's not your night. Like sometimes LeBron, he'll get he'll get crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes sometimes a great hitter, he strikes out at a big moments. Sometimes it happens, and it just happened to happen. Like the last one against Ngannou, he was just a better man that night. He was able to catch me early. We knew that was his game plan, because he doesn't have the best conditions, but we knew he wanted to get me out of there early, because the longer it goes, the better it goes for me. So we expected it, and I thought we had prepared. It just sometimes you get clipped in that right spot,
Mm-hmm.
in that button, and lights go off. And it was easy to bounce back, just because I understand the nature of this. It's
Right.
you can't always win, and it's not always your night, no matter what you do. Because I know there are guys who come out against me, like Junior. I bet he put in a lot of work. I bet he believed in the game plan, believed in the coaching and everything, but it wasn't his night.
Yeah, man. That's like I said, you gotta just, if you want to be great, you kind of gotta have that mentality, and especially because mixed martial arts it's a different game. I mean, literally any person off the street, if they landed a punch in the right spot, could beat you. That doesn't apply in
Yeah.
any other sport where like any old dude off the could go play ball against LeBron on his worst day and beat him. It's just that you are literally getting physically contacted. Your body is put together a certain way that just like you said, one punch. So, and I always wonder, man, and maybe you can give me some insight on this, is because you put in so much work, you train for such a long time to just fight for one night, and especially on the nights when you have a short fight, be it a win or a loss. Is that something where it's kind of like, do you ever get in your mind where you're like, damn, I've been training for 6 or 8 months or whatever, and like I'm gonna be fighting for 15, 25 minutes? Is that something that crosses your mind, or is it all worth it once you get in that cage, win or loss, and you kind of just leave it all in the cage?
Well, usually fight happens between 12 and 8 weeks. You don't. That's only the two
Oh, okay.
months or 3 months. Yes. So you take breaks. Like right now, I haven't been to practice yet. I'll probably get back to practice next week, and I won't be sparring hard enough. I'll just slowly get back into it. Uh, so like it's not as big of a grind on your body. Your body, well, me, I only need like a month off, and I'm back. I'm ready to go.
Hmm.
And like all the work I put into a camp, win or lose, I'm happy with it. Like I'm happy because this is my job. I'm happy to get up every day and go to practice, go to work, and try to be the best I can be.
That's awesome, man. And so, just one last thing. Speaking of going forward, I'm not sure if it happened yet or not, but I think you have a grappling match against Anthony Rumble, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now, believe it or not, actually, my friend Jacob literally was just telling me yesterday. Because, like I said, man, like to be honest with you, you are a reason I'm really starting to get into UFC. Because, like I said, it's dope. Now that I know a UFC fighter personally, I have way more interest. Like, last, believe it or not, during your fight, my hot water heater busted, and my whole apartment
Oh
was like
shit.
flooded, right? And I had the maintenance guy here fixing it. And I'm watching the fight, and he's looking at me because I'm like, "Let's go!" I'm like, "Let's go!" So I was getting all hyped and shit. I got my speakers blaring, and he's looking at me like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" So I'm happy because I used to be back when like I used to be a huge fan of BJ Penn. So back then, like when it was, I mean, you had some legends of the game. You had like Liddell, you had BJ Penn, Tito Ortiz, Forrest Griffin, GS, all
Rampage.
these people. I was super into it, and then over the years, I kind of fell off. And then, like I said, so big credit to my friend Jacob for helping me get back into it. So he told me that you got a grappling match. I didn't even know what that was. So for the people who don't know, what exactly is a grappling match?
Well, the grappling matches are usually jujitsu matches, but I, what I'm doing is kind of like a gimmick. It's we're doing it for charity.
Oh, that's
Um,
dope.
I'm doing a sumo wrestling match. Like
Oh,
I'm gonna
really?
be wearing the diaper and everything.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But yeah, there's gonna be actual grappling going on that night. We're just like the sideshow, you know.
Oh, that's cool, man. So you're doing it for charity. What's the charity you're doing it for?
Well, mine, we got to pick. We each get to pick where we want our portion of money to go to.
Hmm.
Mine is going to one of the local homeless shelters out here in the Denver area. Just because we have a large homeless population, and
Oh, yeah.
uh, the winters here aren't as bad as the ones that you go through or the ones in Chicago, but it's still winter. It's still
Yeah,
snowing.
winter is rough, man.
They need blankets, they need hoodies, they need gloves, all that stuff. So the money's gonna go towards all that stuff. Well, for me, I can't speak on the other guys' charities. I don't know yet.
That's awesome, man. I think it's so cool that you're directly giving back to the spot where you're training at right now. That's definitely something to be proud of, man. So, other than that, man, what kind of plans? I mean, is it just look, I'm out here, I'm about to be UFC heavyweight champion. Is that the one thing on your mind right now, or do you have other stuff, planned, whether it be within mixed martial arts or just in life period? What you got going forward?
I mean, I think about that, but I can't make a legitimate decision yet because every whatever decision I go with is gonna be based off what doors are open after my career is open. Like, what have I done? What does
Mm-hmm.
my name value bring? How much have I earned? So like, if I earn, if I get McGregor money, maybe I buy a whiskey that
Mm-hmm.
could be. But if I only have a couple million, maybe I'll open up a weed farm, or maybe I'll open up a gym. I don't know yet. But I definitely want to remain in the MMA community. I like to help out the next generation, especially the guys at my gym. I'd like to be a part of the coaching staff one day.
That's awesome, man. You're doing a lot of great stuff, and like I said, bro, I look forward to watching you in your next fight and whatever you do going forward, man. Like, you got a fan for life in me, man. I really appreciate you taking your time out to do this and just interacting with people and coming on here, man. So I really appreciate it, bro. Thank you for coming on. And other than that, I'll see everybody next week. Peace.